Hello and welcome to Laurice's Kitchen. It's more viewer requests. Back in the summertime, Maria asked if I would put together a Russian salad Olivier. Now, this salad is traditionally eaten at New Year's in Russia, so I asked if it would be okay if we waited until a little bit later in the fall when it was closer to the holidays. She agreed, and tonight that's what we're going to put together. So let's see what we're going to need. This is a cold salad, so everything does need to be cooked. This is all raw. Now, when I read the instructions, I was a little bit taken aback because it says to boil everything, which is just something we don't do in this kitchen. Infrequent cooking techniques aside, we're going to start with 300 grams of beef. Now, this is eye of the round, and I did trim it. These are 3 medium potatoes. They've been scrubbed very well. This is 4 medium to small carrots. These have been peeled and trimmed, and these are 3 eggs raw. Now I'm boiling all of this together, and I'm cooking the eggs separately because I've never just boiled an egg, so I don't know how long that actually takes. Let's get over to the stove and start cooking. I have 2 pans here on over medium-high heat. The eggs in one pan and the vegetables in the other. Once the Dutch oven starts to boil, I'll put the meat in there. I just don't want the beef in there while the water's heating up. Now, if you've never hard-cooked eggs before, they go in cold water over medium-high heat until they just begin to boil. At that point, we turn the heat down to low, cover them, and set the timer for 16 minutes. Once that's up, we shock them in ice water because we don't want them to continue cooking. Now, over here in the Dutch oven, we'll take out the food as it's done cooking. The carrots should be done first, followed by the beef, and then a little bit later, the potatoes. Okay, what I learned the first time is once these vegetables start to float, they're pretty much done. We don't want them cooked to mush. So it looks like I have 2 carrots that are still not cooked all the way through. We need to let our cooked foods cool down for probably close to a half an hour before we can peel them and cut them up. Aside from these, we've got 1 cup of peas. Now this is 1 cup of frozen petite peas that I've just allowed to thaw. I've also got 4 medium dill pickles, some salt and pepper, 1 whole onion, and my neighbor assures me that we need a lot of mayonnaise. So I made 2 batches. We just need to chop our pickles and our onions. Cut these in rounds to about halfway down, and then these I'm going to cut into quarters. Now this just needs halves. The beef we're supposed to chop. Now I've never really chopped beef before, so I'm just going to cut this into slices, cut those into strips, and then cut it into dice and then chop it after that. And if this was supposed to be beef tongue, I apologize. Okay, I don't want these pieces too small. Okay, this looks pretty good. I'm just going to quarter these hard-boiled eggs and then dice these too. These potatoes have cooled enough to handle. We're just going to peel them and cut them into bite-sized pieces. I had to transfer over to this white bowl. The other bowl was just not going to be big enough to stir this all together. Now the first time I made this, I think I only added about a teaspoon of salt. That was not nearly enough. So I'm going to start with 2 teaspoons of salt and possibly go up to 3. I'm also going to use a lot more pepper than I did the first time, so probably close to a whole teaspoon. Okay, I'm going to start with at least half of this. I can guarantee you I'm going to have to add more. That was actually about 3/4 of this. This looks pretty good. Let's get it plated and tasted. This salad is traditionally garnished with greens and olives. Now I've chosen Kalamata olives. If you don't like them, choose what you like. Now after I made this the very first time and found out I absolutely loved it, I've determined I must have Eastern European blood in my heritage. And after consulting with my Russian neighbor about how to make this salad and when it's eaten, I realized Americans are amateurs when it comes to celebrating New Year's Eve. Let's give this a taste. Delicious.